Hi, David Matthew here. I'd like to talk today about a model for effective coaching. It's based on the evidence of what makes a difference to clients when they're having psychotherapy. And I've used the evidence, I'll put it into a framework of 3 different aspects that you need to be thinking about. I call it the support, insight, action framework. So if we take support first, the client clearly has to feel they have some kind of rapport with you, that you're in a supportive relationship with them. And you can do that, set it up in numerous ways. Number one is your own attitude must be one of unconditional positive regard. Whatever the client brings, it's not your position to be judgmental about the issues. You're there to help them think something through. And that can be expressed also in the physical layout of the room, making sure you can have good eye contact with the client, that you can hear them very well, that you're not going to be interrupted. And you need to establish confidentiality with them so that they feel supported in that. You also express it by having an open body language, by active listening, and by focusing on what the client is wanting to talk about, not what you want to talk about. So the whole tenor here is that you are there for them. Now, the support phase, in research, it's shown that that doesn't actually induce or encourage behavior change in itself, but it's an important part of the process. So let's move on to the insight and action phases, which do help a client to move forward. Insight is the second one. Your attitude here is, when you're listening to the client, you're listening on 2 levels. You're listening to actually what they're saying, and you're responding to that, but you're also, there's a bit of you that's partly stepped back from that, saying, what's going on here? What am I thinking about this? What's this making me think about? And sometimes you come across a way of saying something that you think, oh, this might help the client if I express this. They might have some insight if I express something tentatively, like, have you thought about ... or might this be linked to ... So your job in this phase is to tentatively suggest, try out ways of thinking about what's happening that might be helpful to them, about their behavior, about the problem, or even about the way that they're thinking about the issue. So that's the second phase, insight. And the final phase is action. And this is the bit where you help a client to explore possible ways of moving forward. Again, you don't tell them what to do. You don't offer your own experience. You don't offer your own advice. Those are actually unhelpful things to do unless the client explicitly asks for them. That's what the research shows. But what you do is to tentatively offer, what would happen if you did this? Have you thought about what the consequences might be? Have you thought of other ways you might move forward? So your focus here is on actions that a client might take to make a difference. And at the end of that, what you hope to get is perhaps a list of 2 or 3 things that the client might do differently over the next few weeks until your next session with them. So that's the Support, Insight, Action framework. I hope it helps you in your coaching work.